If they can go after someone like Congresswoman McIver, somebody who serves in an official office, who's doing her official duties, they are coming for you. It's complete political theater.
A warning from a top Democrat tonight, and now we are joined by James Carville, a longtime Democratic strategist. Welcome. Do you see a line crossed here, and what is the way for your party to deal with it?
Well, so many lines have been crossed, so many lines have been erased. I don't even know if there are any lines left. For me, and this is my personal opinion, I think they went after her, and I think her race has something to do with it. I'll just flat out say that.
You're of the view, and it's my job. I'll let you finish. It's my job, James. Yeah, no, but it's my job to ask you to substantiate it. But you're of the view. You're of the view. Well, I'll let you finish. You're of the view that you're asserting that the Trump administration or DOJ is targeting her racially. Why do you assert that?
Because that's what they're about. And they're trying to show it's us against them. They talk about the blood of America and the poisoning of blood. And they talk about this kind of stuff. Again, let me be very clear. I don't have any proof, but if you ask me, do I think that's what happened? Yes, I think that's what happened. I think if it was a white congressperson, they would not have arrested her. I'll just flat out say that, and I'm
and that's a big claim, and they would.
And that's it.
And I think many people there have and would continue to fight you on that. The president said this is about going after, quote, woke activities, and it's going to stop. Do you see that as also this sort of coded way to present her?
Look, they're trying to do everything they can to draw attention to immigration because the global economy is terrible. The rates on a 10-year bond are going up. It's soft everywhere. Companies are warning of lower earnings. And all of this is happening. He's not done anything about any of this. He can't get his bill through Congress. So great. I got a great solution. Let's go out and arrest a black woman. And then that'll solve everything. And that'll have everybody talking about this. So I don't trust them at all. I think they'll use anything. I think they're in the midst of a massive failure. They're in the midst of a massive failure on Bill, greatest, whatever he calls that, BBB bill. The economy is going terribly. He's passed 5 things since the Congress started. It's nothing. And all of a sudden, when you got nothing to go on, hey, let's get the black person in, we can change the conversation. That's what I really, really believe.
And what do you see in the way that the big case that they rolled out against the mayor, as I showed tonight, fell apart, that they dropped it? Because it's this dual thing, and I'm curious what you think politically, which is part of all this, the Democrats should do. Right. You say you don't overreact, don't talk too much. But on the other hand, pushing back has worked because the case is now gone.
Well, push back, and she's going to raise $4 million in legal fees and is going to have lawyers like you wouldn't believe because people like myself are totally outraged by this. But again, so they have to drop the case against the mayor because they don't have a case. So they were, gee, we can't do that and back off. Let's just arrest somebody else. Then 3 weeks later, they're going to drop the case against her and try to arrest him. And they'll talk about taking over Greenland, or they'll talk about the Panama Canal or Canada or some other distraction that they have. And we're in the midst of one of the great failure administration in the first 4 months that we've seen in American history. And that's just what it is. And they're doing everything they can to deflect our attention from the massive failures that they're responsible for. And I feel sorry for the congressperson. She'll be fired. She'll have nothing but top-rate legal talent. She did anything wrong. She's entitled to an opinion. She's a member of Congress. When you start arresting members of Congress, you get into some pretty serious territory there. So I'm not very worried about her future. But I just think they're going to continue to do this, and they continue to put that bait out there, and we're just going to continue to hit at it.
Yeah. Yeah, the ACLU said today that it was clearly, in their view, a political persecution, that it was autocratic. And people have to understand what's happening out there. I mean, the mayor's case fell apart. So it apparently, as I said. Go ahead.
One falls apart, you know. One falls apart, you try to make up another one. And when this one falls apart, they're going to try to make up another one.
Yeah. But apparently, as I said, even according to Trump. To Trump DOJ, it wasn't trespassing. You know, you can take their word for it because they dropped it. When you talk about the actual results of this administration, I want to turn you to Elon Musk, who was very big and bold and out there in the beginning. There was a lot of pushback. It's funny. someone who has public companies can be richer than anyone, but they still have pressure points. He was out today doing a high-profile interview, not about government cuts, not about MAGA, but about Tesla and trying to pitch his company and get it back on good footing. And then he's kind of telegraphing, grain of salt if you don't believe him, that he doesn't want to be as deeply in this MAGA stuff right now. Take a listen.
I think in terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
And why is that?
I think I've done enough.
Is it because of blowback?
Well, if I see a reason to do political spending in the future, I will do it. I do not currently see a reason.
Well, all right. It reminds me of a story of my childhood. I had a hairpin and was sticking it in an electrical socket. And my mother said, son, don't do that. And my uncle said, let him do it, and he won't do it again. You know what? I did it, and I didn't do it again. He got involved in politics. He stuck that hairpin in that electric socket. And he's going back to electric motors. He's not going back to politics, I can tell you that. I mean, he spent what, God knows what he spent. Wisconsin got beat by 10 points. His poll numbers are, I don't know how you describe how low they are. And, you know, finally his board and his investors said, hey, man, get the hell out of there. And I think he's glad to get out.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating because there was a period where it almost seemed like unchecked, all the talk of him as a cabinet overlord or even co-president. But that might have been overblown. It had a lot of impact. I'm not minimizing that. But, boy, the idea that he's just ruling, he took a brand name that took years to build and had, I would argue, prior to the politics, Tesla had a pretty good reputation and a pretty broad one on the green side of things. And very quickly, he toxified it. He can afford the losses, he could say, but he did toxify it. I want to show you something that I'm going to ask you about. The New York Times has this inside story of Trump's search for a new Air Force One. I guess insight on what his mind is about. Is he thinking about you and lowering your prices, or is he thinking about his plane? It involved weeks of, quote, secret coordination between Washington and Doha. His envoy got in touch with the Qataris to ask about the plane. This is concerning or suspicious if it's the U.S. government courting or seeking this gift. And so I want